So I'm just gonna give some background to this video that you're about to see. It's a fishing trip, the opposite of the fishing trip I'm coming home from right now. As you can see out the window, there's a lot of cold. We were up in the mountains, but this fishing trip was one that I took in 2017. Now, a little bit of background about it. It was a trip to Cancun, and normally when an American, a gringo, goes to Cancun and wants to go fishing, they charge you like $600, $700, $800 for the whole day, and then you go out and then you fish, you know. Now, I speak Spanish. I lived in Mexico for a while, and I was there for several days, and I kept trying to find somebody that would just take me on a local sort of small little place, you know, small little trip where I could just use my own gear that I brought and try to catch some fish. And so anyways, it's kind of cool because you can't really see it in the video. I wish I would have taken more film of this, but it's this I found this beach where the locals lived, and it was kind of cool when I went down there. Somebody pointed me in the right direction to this guy who had a boat, and his door was probably just feet away from the actual where the waves would stop. He just lives on the beach. The floor of his hut or his house or his shack or whatever it is just the sand, and then it's just wooden, you know, I don't know, the wind can blow in and blow out. And anyways, he has this little boat. So I had a buddy who we had met in Cancun go with me to help film with my GoPro, and then this guy took us out. And it was kind of funny because when we jumped in this boat, he had a motor, and the boat was this long, you'll see it in the video, this long sort of blue old boat that the local fishermen might use to go out and catch some fish and then sell them in the market, you know, something like that. And it was pretty sketchy. They had this one really old life preserver in there that if I would have fell in, they could have given it to me. And then so when the guy went to start his motor, he normally, when you see like an older motor like that, you have like a cord that you pull. He didn't have a cord that he could pull, and so I'm like, what are we gonna do? So then he takes off his belt and wraps his belt around the motor and then pulls it, and then that's what gives it the energy to be able to spin the motor, to turn the motor over, to turn it on. So that's how he turned the motor on. And not only that, but a couple times, and I mean, maybe it's on the video, I can't remember, but when we were out, like the motor would just like turn off, and then he would have to take off his belt, and like we're out in like the middle of the ocean, he has to like pull the thing, and I'm like, what happens if it doesn't start? But he just knew it was going to start every time. So anyways, we were out there, and then you'll see him pulling a hand line, because they don't use fishing poles like the local fishermen like that, you know, the expensive equipment. They just have fishing line and a hook, and then they pull up and to other fishermen who give them like pieces of other fish or whatever that left over for their bait. So then anyway, so that was kind of what we did, and you'll see kind of in the rest of the video, we went out around this old shipwreck. He just knew exactly where to go to get some barracuda. And so I had my old bass gear. I had some big, you know, 3/0, 4/0 hooks or whatever with like for swim baits with like lead on them, and then they would sink in the water, and we would cut up pieces of other fish and just put it on there, and then the barracuda would come and just slam them. So you'll see that I catch several of those, and then I got this one couple times. I caught a fish called the houndfish, and one of them was on this really big bass jerkbait that I'd gotten in a mystery tackle box, and I took it down there. It was this really long jerkbait, and I caught this huge houndfish in the middle of this bay there in Cancun. So that's a little bit of the background. I ended up paying the guy probably $150 or something like that, which to him was bank, you know what I mean? And he just took me for 2 hours, and if I remember right, this is like 4 years ago, I caught those 2 big long houndfish and probably 8 barracuda, and then I just gave them to the local guy that was there to help me kind of film or whatever with my GoPro, so he could take them home for his family, and that was it. Later that day, jumped on the airplane and came home. So that's my story. So enjoy the video.
tienes, John.
diciendo los números.
No, sí, 58, 59, ya va un minuto.
Oh, ok. Mira esos dientes.
No manches.
Sí aguantó.
Está parpadeando.
Sí, ahí está. Uy,
¿Qué?
yo lo vi.
Ah,
Lo escupió.
sí estaba grandote.
Sí, ahí está. That was awesome. Fish on, buddy. Están comiendo. Ahí está. Wow, we got one. La otra me la dejé centrar, aunque sea con la mano, ¿no? Híjole, míralo.